The Oculus Quest 2. Literally, it's been in the market for about 15 months now at the time making the video, and I literally witnessed this headset evolve throughout those months. And so in today's video, I think it's about time we make an updated video of all the hidden features, because there's a lot more now, and some cool tips and tricks on this amazing headset. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you're a newcomer, I'm basically gonna run you through everything there is to know. So starting off with the personalization, because that is right, you can actually personalize your Quest to your own personal preference. So one of the ways you can personalize your Quest is by setting up the Guardian. And once you set up the Guardian, those lines that you see there, you can actually change it with other colors if you like to. So in your VR environment, these lines is what I'm talking about. Whenever you peek your head out of the grid, you see those outlines. To change the color of that, all you gotta do is simply go into your quick settings shortcut. This is where you can find all these different shortcut settings like the brightness slider, audio, Wi-Fi, Guardian, and then etc. I'll go more about more things you can do in this menu in just a little bit. But in the settings section right here, tap here and go into Guardian. And in the general section, you have 3 different colors to choose from. Default color is blue, obviously. You can change to yellow, shows you a little preview, and purple. From the capture card, or when I'm recording, it's not going to show this, but you'll see it once you start adjusting this. Then under nifty goodies is the double tap path through. When this is enabled, by toggling this, by either tapping the right side or the left side VR headset, like twice like so, my screen will be black and white, but you'll be able to see the environment that you're in all in black and white. This is extremely useful whenever somebody is talking or yelling your name across the room, or you hear something going on, you want to quickly switch to the external camera so you can see what's around you instead of having to take off the entire headset and place it back on and tighten it up and all that. You could quickly just toggle left or right by simply just tapping the headset like I just did. So have that enabled if you want to have the pass-through functionality. So we go back into our settings. Another thing that's worth noting is under the room scale section, you can actually adjust the sensitivity of the boundary. Typically by default it's in the middle section, but I like to leave it like right here. This is ideal for video games like Beat Saber, Pistol Whip and such that requires a lot of movement, a lot of peeking around, dodging and such. Because the lower the sensitivity, the less those lines will pop up during the game, so it doesn't ruin the VR immersion. So make sure to play with this slider and find the best sensitivity that best suits you. So back here, if we go back into the overall settings, another way you can personalize your VR headset to you is in the personalization tab. You can actually change the environment. So there's a bunch of different environments to select from. Some you have to download, some you can delete later on because they do take up storage. But when you have all these themes, you have a bunch of these different themes to choose from. For example, the Quest Dome, this is the default one. Whenever you launch your, not dome, I mean the classic, whenever you put your headset on for the first time, this is the default one. You can like toggle between like sci-fi, studio, and etc. And right there you see I have a desk. I also have a couch in here. I'll show you how you can actually add real world stuff in your VR environment. So in display theme here, you can also toggle between dark and light mode. So here, if you want light mode, you can just do that, apply changes, and then your VR headset will go into light mode. So just like our smartphones, you can switch between those two. Of course, you have to hit apply and this will reset the entire headset. I don't want to do that because this is just a video tutorial. And in text size, here you can also adjust the text size as well. If you have vision issues, I don't want to reset the headset, you can always put it largest, extra large, large. So find the best font size that best suits you. Now moving along, other things, if you have a household who also want to have their own account on your VR headset, in the accounts you can actually add up to 3 different accounts. And when you tap add accounts, it'll walk you through the whole setup procedure, and it's exactly the same like how it is when you first. And I'll talk about that notification thing in just a little bit, how you can set your mobile phone notifications to pop up on your VR headset that you just witnessed. But back to here, the setup procedure will walk you through basically everything that there is to know. It's just like how you set up your headset for the first time via Facebook or your Oculus account. And in addition to that, if you or other friends who also logged into your VR headset, previously purchased some games, you can enable it so you can play their games on your account and vice versa. It's kind of neat, which you can enable that feature right here, as you see. Or if you feel like being that person, you can turn it off if you just don't want anybody else to have access to your games. They don't access your game save, but they access the games that you already purchased so they can play it on their account. All separate, of course. In addition to that, in security, I highly recommend creating a PIN code for your headset. So right here, you must enter an unlock pattern to unlock your account on this headset. This is good to have if you don't want anybody else to have access to your headset. Enable this and it will create a custom PIN. Now, since we're still covering customization, on your profile picture right here, if you click on here, you can actually edit your avatar. They changed a lot since the last time, as now there's a bunch of different like features you can actually adjust and such. You're not really limited with just basic facial features, but you are limited on clothing, unfortunately. Oh, what the heck are those? I'll change that later, but you can do a lot more. So highly recommend adjusting or customizing your avatar now, as they have that looks like Dwayne Rock Johnson. Moving along. So back here, we go back into cog icon. Other thing that's worth noting is in the experimental tab, if you scroll down, if you have experimental features enabled, you can actually include your VR couch in this VR world. Right now, as you see, I have the desk. You may also bring your VR desk. And the walkthrough procedure is extremely easy. Basically, I'll walk you through basically anything. So again, my screen is going to be black and white, but you basically just walk up to your couch from one side, hold down the trigger, and just click and drag until you make the bottom part where you sit down on your couch, and you'll bring it into the real world. So let me just go ahead and quickly do this. Click and drag, and bam, now my couch is in VR, as you just saw. Now, since we're in the experimental tab, there's a couple other things too that you could adjust. So the Oculus Quest 2 can go up to 120 Hertz. Some games don't support it, some games do. Some games fluctuate, so it doesn't use up a lot of battery life. But if you want to have this enabled by default, you just simply toggle this. Now, all the supported games that supports 120 Hertz will actually utilize your VR. Maximum performance, just know it will draw a lot of battery life. Now in the Air Link, this is perfect for Oculus Link. Instead of using the cable, this could rely on the Wi-Fi. It's still in the beta, but you can enable this feature right here. Now, Bluetooth track keyboard, this is a new feature. Only supported keyboards can actually support this. I'll have the list right here, as well as the link URL where you can actually find out what keyboard support this. But when you bring your keyboard into the VR world, you can have it placed on your little desk right here, which is quite neat. The setup procedure is extremely easy. It'll walk you through basically everything, but this is where you go in to go ahead and have that feature if you actually own one of these supported keyboards. There's more to come in the near future too. So Space Sense, I highly recommend going in here and enabling this. It's a free feature once more. It's part of the experimental thing. When this is enabled, whenever there's a fast moving object, you'll see an outline in your VR space, just like the grid. So if you're getting too close to furniture, the VR camera detects outlines. It will show you that in the VR world, so you don't smack into that thing or that person. Now the hey, this phrase, when this is enabled, basically this allows you to do a lot of command phrases for the Oculus Quest, like to launch apps and such. I'll have a link to all the commands you can say in a video description down below for you guys, so you can read that thoroughly if you like. I personally don't use it, but that is the feature. You can go ahead and enable this. Now, multitasking up to 3 apps at the same time. Basically, this is actually pretty cool. I highly recommend leaving this on. Basically, this allows us to do this. If I go ahead and launch the Oculus Quest Store, as you see, if I go ahead and launch the apps and go onto a web browser, I could click and drag it like so. It'll load up, and then I can also open up my files right here, and that will also load up. So I could run 3 different apps at the same time, which is really neat. And another cool trick is, in case this little bar gets in the way of anything, you can actually click and drag it from the little bottom section right here, this little bar, and move it around so it doesn't like get in the way of anything. Another neat thing you can do, if we actually close this one or one of these little tabs, we go ahead and close this one, open up a web browser. You can also do the exact same thing and having different web pages open up, and you can still create different tabs for those different web browsers you have. And then in addition to that, by default, you'll see a bunch of different web browser VR games that you could play right here, your Oculus Quest. So these are free games you could literally play just on the web browser. So if you're bored, you have nothing to do, you want to experiment, these are some free games you have right here, access right there, and some of them are like environment based too, which is quite neat. Now in the quick shortcut apps, most of the stuff is basically it's super basic, slider, you know, just like your smartphone, volume. You can see the exact percentage of the controller and the VR right here, as well as the date. But something I want to show you is the night shift. Well, not the drive, I mean the night shift, which is right here. This is ideal, just like our smartphones. This is typically used at night when you're about to go to sleep pretty soon. By enabling this, it eliminates the blue light. Blue light is known to prevent us from sleeping faster. By having this enabled, this should help our eyes relax more so you can get a good night's sleep. But if you want to adjust this even more, you can always just go into your settings, go into the all settings section, go into system, and in display, where it says night shift, enable it here. And here you have access to the warmth slider. So adjust it to your personal preference right here. And now, next time when you enable it in the quick shortcut, depending on where you left that slider, it's gonna go ahead and enable it right there on that percentage you left it on. Now the controller on the VR headset actually has two nifty shortcuts. The first one is obviously if you press and hold, this will actually reset the viewpoint if you continue holding it until that circle fills up. So if you're in a game and you get out of it and you're facing the menu, like the menu is behind you or something like that, just press and hold the Oculus button, it will recenter it. Another thing is if you actually tap, if you hold the Oculus button and you tap the trigger button, this will actually take a screenshot. That's a shortcut to take a screenshot instead of having to go into the share icon right here. And well, we're recording, but take a picture right here, typically how it will capture a screenshot. But to record, you still have to go in sharing and then manually hit record. And now you have the option to actually enable the microphone if you like. You'll see it at the menu as soon as it pops up. Now in the notification section, you see right here, you can actually enable it so you can see your cell phone's notification right here, which is new to the Oculus. To set this up, you have to actually go and launch the Oculus App Store, which we're gonna go ahead and do right now. So in the Oculus Quest app, if you actually tap on your devices and you go on top where it says My Quest, select the Oculus Quest that you have right now. So right now we can monitor not just our battery life percentage of the device, but if you scroll down and you go into phone notifications, here's where you can actually send all the notifications that your phone receives while you're in VR, and will be pushed to the VR headset so you don't miss anything important. So just follow the on-screen instructions, pair, and just turn it on, and just like that, everything from text messages to phone numbers, even third-party apps you can enable. So everything will be pushed from your smartphone to the VR while you're playing your game. It actually works surprisingly really well. Now, a cool thing about the Oculus Quest now that you could do is whenever you're at a friend's house or something and you want to connect your headset to Wi-Fi, instead of having to wear the VR headset, to enter the password and tell your friend to verbally tell you what the Wi-Fi password is, you can now just find that setting right here. You can actually select the nearby Wi-Fi network and enter the passcode right here on your smartphone keyboard instead of doing it the old-fashioned way. And if your buddy has your VR headset and you want to allow them to play, you can actually enter the PIN code right here from your smartphone, so you don't have to give away your password. And then another cool thing, if you're like me who forgets and sometimes power off their VR headset, if you actually go into the power settings right here, you can actually enable it so the VR headset will automatically shut off within 15 minutes or 15 seconds as soon as it detects that you remove the VR headset. Leave it on 15 minutes, this will preserve your battery life as much as possible. A very useful feature. Now when you're recording, you may have noticed there's a red dot on the side. You can actually disable this if you don't want that person to see it, or if it gets in the way, if it's distracting. To go ahead and do so, simply just go into the system section and in display, right here where it says video capture indicator, disable that, and now that little red LED light that floats around the right hand side will be gone. Now a hidden feature, if you're a fitness freak like I am and you like to see your calories burned and stuff like that, if you do a lot of like cardio based style games, you can actually enable this calorie counter right here. If you want to go ahead and do that, just launch the Move app, and here it'll walk you basically it'll walk you through everything. You can personalize the calories to personal calorie goals and such. In the Move section, this will basically show you the history, the stats, and you can even adjust the personal goals too if you like. You can also adjust it so if you don't want it to be on the bottom or top, you can do that as well. So now if I look down, the calorie counter is down there. Or I can just have it off entirely and just launch the app if I want to see my stats. Now if we go back and go into the settings, if we go in hand and controllers, if you actually enable hand tracking, by having hand tracking enabled, it'll walk you through the whole process, how you can navigate through the menus and stuff like that. But by having these sections enabled, by placing the controller down like so, and just move your hand around, give it a couple of seconds, boom, it'll quickly toggle hand tracking. This is really useful, especially during those times where you don't feel like playing anything. You just want to browse the web or watch something on Netflix in VR. You could totally do so. Or if your controller is dead, you could still use your Oculus Quest. And yes, there are some games that do support hand tracking only. So yeah, by having this enabled, you could operate your Quest without needing the controller. And when you feel like switching back to the controller, just simply grab them. Try not to step on them or place them somewhere far away so you don't accidentally damage your VR head controllers. Now when you're done recording these videos, you can actually synchronize it on the app, on the Oculus app, so you can actually view it on your phone instead of having to plug in this headset into a computer. To set this up, the Oculus will walk you through basically everything. All you gotta do is just launch all your apps and find the file viewer. Launch this, and then by default, if you launch it for the first time, it'll tell you if you want to enable these features. Just go ahead and enable this. But if it doesn't pop up, you can also view it right here. And just click the little cloud icon, and this will enable the cloud synchronization feature, which is free. And of course, if you like to cast something on the TV, you can always go back in the sharing icon, go into the cast section, and here you have the ability to cast on any Chromecast that's the third generation or newer. You'll see it right here. So long as the headset is connected to the same Wi-Fi network, you have access to it, or you can actually view it on your computer, and it'll basically walk you through the whole procedure right here. But just go on that URL link and you'll be able to view whatever you see in the VR to the display of that computer. Or you can cast it directly to the Oculus app, and you could do these same settings and adjustments on the Oculus app as well. I'll go more about that in a little bit. Now if your buddy is using a VR headset, as a fine example, he or she doesn't know how to do it on their menu, instead of walking you through the process, you can always just tap the little VR headset icon right here in the corner, select the headset, and select start. And this will actually cast the VR headset to your smartphone or tablet or whatever device you have the Quest app installed on this main device. I'm gonna go ahead and exit off of that. But if you tap this little arrow icon, you can also select the other devices right here, and it'll actually search for like Chromecast and such, as you see this little list right here. So you can actually cast a Quest to like the master bedroom TV or something like that, as a fine example. Now if your buddy or somebody is having a hard time launching certain games and stuff on your Oculus Quest, you can actually launch it for them on the Oculus app by tapping on your profile. Just go into My Library, and here you'll find all the apps that your VR headset has installed. You can select the app or game. You can actually tap start, and it'll start for them on the VR headset, just like that. Which also reminds me, if you go into the social tab down here, you can actually create invitation links to your friends or family. You could create an invitation link just simply tapping invite, and then select the app you want to play multiplayer on, add a description, multiplayer, and then just tap create link. It'll actually use your contact on your device, so you can send it via message, email, or Instagram or other social media platforms. And as soon as they click on that link, they'll join your game right away. It's a really quick method instead of going into the menu and just accepting an invitation, where you can actually accept the invite on your smartphone, which is quite nice. And now you are a wizard when it comes to using your Oculus Quest 2. I guess other tips I could give out is, if you manage to find a used 64GB Oculus Quest, my advice would be to avoid it unless you're looking for a dedicated VR PC headset. The Oculus Quest 2, even the Quest 1, it still is a fantastic VR headset, especially if you just want to use it for your desktop. Then in that case, there's no need to have a lot of storage. You'll just be utilizing the storage you have on your desktop. But if you're using it for just as a dedicated VR headset, The 64GB storage, honestly, in today's day and age, it's not enough. Modern day games typically take close to 50 gigs now, so you'll be able to fit only 1 or 2 games. Just not worth the hassle. Unless you score like an insane deal, then I guess it's okay to pull that trigger and purchase a used 64GB headset. Other tips and tricks I could give out is, as soon as you're done playing with your Quest, keep the lens away from any sunlight. This is typically the easiest way you could damage your VR headset. It will damage the OLED display, cause it to bleed. It's not worth the hassle. And in addition to that, don't use your t-shirt or something to clean the lens back here. Use the microfiber cloth or pick up one of these lens cleaner pens. These things are phenomenal because as soon as you scratch one of these lenses, it's kind of game over because you're always going to see it when you're playing your VR games. And replacing this is such a headache, it's not even worth doing. But if you wear glasses like me, you can always just pick up these a little lens adapter description lens. This is the one I use, linked in the description of course. But these act like a little protection, so it prevents my glasses or any accidental scratches to occur, as this would just protect over the original lens on the headset. But other than that, that's basically it. If you haven't yet picked up an Oculus Quest and you got some good useful information out of the video, use the referral link I have that Oculus provide every user. Right now there's a special going on that you will get $60 and I'll get $60 in store credit, so you can actually use this towards a purchase, towards a game you want to go ahead and purchase on day one. So yeah, utilize the referral program that Oculus actually has on the Oculus App Store. It's actually really nifty, saves us a lot of money. It's a nice little promo. All in all, there you guys have it. Hope you guys got some good useful information out of this video. If you did, greatly appreciate if you could actually leave this video a like, as those help me out a lot, and get subscribed, especially if you enjoy a lot of tech videos just like this. If you're curious what type of accessories, including this decal I have on my Quest 2, I cover all these accessories that I primarily use on a day-to-day in this essential guide video right over there. And in that video over there, that is the video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.